Good morning. Welcome to Kahu's Corner this Monday morning, beginning of the work week. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys had a good and blessed weekend. It was a busy weekend in Waimea Town with the annual Cherry Blossom Heritage Festival. It was a little rainy, a little windy, but it didn't stop the people from coming out. We were at Church Row right in front of Imiola, and it was busy, and I can only imagine how town was. They said it had a lot of people, so I think it was a successful weekend. The goal that Imiola set for ourselves, everything worked out. We raised some funds for VBS, so God is always continuing to bless our efforts. That way, the children this year, this coming summer, can have VBS again. And again, it's only a way to give back to the community because VBS is open to the community of Waimea and beyond. So we was blessed with that. The food was good, really good. Um, there was entertainment all over, and more importantly, fellowship was a time for even Imiola congregation to get out in the community and support the community and help out where we could, at least in that area. A lot of vendors. So it was a successful time. And if you was, in any part of Waimea on Saturday, I'm sure you had a lot to eat, a lot of people, and just a good time. So with that, last week, remember we talked about Jesus and ministering to people. He didn't put any barriers between him and whoever he was talking to. We seen that last week in John chapter 3. He talked to Nicodemus. Nicodemus was probably the highest form of status as far as religion goes in that time. He was a teacher of the law, a Pharisee. And then the very next chapter, we see Jesus ministering to the woman at the well, a Samaritan woman. Well, back in those days, the Jewish people weren't supposed to even associate with Samaritans. But Jesus was all about coming, ministering, sharing the good news of the gospel. In Jesus' eyes, there was only two types of people: those that believed in Him and those that didn't. And we're still in John, the Gospel of John. We can look at another person. Just these amazing stories of how Jesus ministered to people. He didn't judge them, but he told them, what they needed to correct in their lives to move forward. We've seen that with Nicodemus, and eventually Nicodemus and the woman at the well eventually believed in him and got saved just by the simple message of the gospel and how Jesus presented it. He didn't judge. All he came out of love was to share the gospel message so that people could be saved by him. And that's what we need to do, is continue the same thing. Jesus gives us the commandment in Matthew 25, the Great Commission, to go and make disciples, teaching and preaching the good news of the gospel. And we had the opportunity this past weekend to do it. The community was full, and I'm sure God's churches within the community of Waimea did just that. But anyway, John chapter 8, first 11 verses. Most of you, a lot of us heard this story about the woman that was caught in adultery. It's kind of funny when you read it that somebody must have been following her every minute of the day to catch her. And these religious leaders brought this woman to Jesus while he was teaching in the temple. And Jesus, the awesome teacher that he was, he said, okay, well, the religious leader said that, she was caught in the act of adultery. So somebody was following her around 24/7. And that according to the law of Moses, she should be stoned. And Jesus turned around and put the ball back in their court And he said in verse 7, he said, "All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone." So Jesus said, "I get it. That is true. That's the law. But whoever didn't sin, you guys pick up the first rock and you guys throw it." No one ever piped up after that. All of them, it says, from the oldest to the youngest, walked off. I wonder why. Everyone sins. Jesus said, "Okay, well, if there's one perfect person here, then you have the right to throw the stone." And then later down in the chapter, in verse 10, Jesus asked the lady two questions. "Where are your accusers? And didn't even one of them condemn you?" And then she said, "No." And then Jesus said, "Neither do I. Go and sin no more." Like we said back in John chapter 3, verse 17, right after probably the most popular verse, that said that Jesus didn't come to the world to condemn it or to judge it, but that the world might be saved through him. And that was his mission. And he did just that. He went out, he shared his love, shared his message of hope, of salvation. And he wasn't about condemnation, about judging. And we all do that. I know we all do, because I do myself. So when we get to a point when we gonna judge somebody, we gotta put ourselves in check and look in the mirror and ask ourselves, we have issues with ourselves that people can judge us on. But Jesus was all about sharing a message of hope. And I'm saved by his blood. I put my faith in him. Am I that perfect person? No, not by any stretch of the means. But we continue to live by his commandments, his teachings and instructions. When you fail, you get back up. You keep moving forward. And when you have that opportunity to share the message, like Jesus did with all of these people, like I said, he didn't have any barriers with these people. All he wanted to do was share the truth. And we need to do the same. So I hope that in your travels, throughout the day, throughout the week, wherever God going to give you that opportunity, share your testimony. How you got saved by his blood, why you put your trust and faith in him, and let God do the rest. That's all he asks us to do, is share the message, the gospel message, our testimony, and just be available. Don't judge, just love. So I hope you have a blessed week, a good week. We talk to you later. Aloha.